Hey, Roman Trust here with Mission Forge, and today, guys, we're going to talk about some blacksmithing courtesy. Now, there's a lot of courtesies in the blacksmithing community, within people's shops and, going out to different locations at home and stuff like that. But today, guys, I want us to focus on a particular courtesy, and that is blacksmithing within inside a neighborhood. So if you're like me, and I think a majority of probably hobbyist blacksmiths out there, forge from home, so within their garage or in a shed. If you live out in an area where you have acres of land or you live in an apartment building, this might not pertain to you, okay? But if you're like me and you do forge at home, this is probably gonna be something to help you out. So one of the things about your blacksmithing is that it can be a bit of a nuisance for your neighbors. You're making a lot of noise, banging sounds, repetitive sounds, cutting and grinding, and all that fun stuff. And that can start driving people crazy if you do it all the time and every day. Because I know when I blacksmith, the noise travels into people's homes. So first thing I really want to recommend is that you guys make sure you follow all local city, county, and state laws, mandates, and ordinances. So noise ordinances, if there's any kind of burn notice or ordinances, you have any other kind of things like you have to be a certain distance from your home or any of your structures. Make sure you're not forging super early to late at night, all that stuff. Make sure you get your butt covered. So follow those. The next thing to do is that make sure that you also are following homeowners association ordinances if you're even allowed to. But next thing you want to do is that make sure that you are forging at a reasonable time. That is probably the biggest thing that I can really stress. And by reasonable time, I mean that you pick a time frame when you will start blacksmithing or forging. Don't do it too early and don't do it too late. I understand that's the time you want to do it because that's when it's the coolest. But your neighbors won't like that you're starting to beat on metal at 6 in the morning or at 10 at night. All right? That's how you get neighbors that dislike you and call the cops on you all the time. Do it at a reasonable time. I usually start around 10 a.m. and I try to end at the latest by 8, but I'm trying to be done by 7 p.m. So that way my neighbors can sleep in on their days off and enjoy their evenings and when it's relatively quiet out. So you may need to do something like that. Also, another courtesy is to let your neighbors know that you do some kind of blacksmithing. I let them all know. If they were moving in, I usually tell them right off the bat, and I start with an apology. Hey, I just want to apologize. I'm the noisy neighbor. I do some blacksmithing. If it starts to bother you, please let me know so we can try to resolve this issue. Another thing that you can do too is offer them your service before it becomes a problem. Like, hey, if you got any knives, kitchen knives, hunting knife, pocket knife, whatever type of knife that you need sharpened, let me know. I'll take care of it for you. Or offer them something like, hey, I'll make you, if they like gardening, make them a nice little gardening tool, or if they hunt, a good hunting knife or something, or if they like candles or other little trinkets, make that stuff for them, and make a good decent one too, so that way they appreciate it and they're less likely to be angry with you because you're doing something for them and you understand that this can be a nuisance for them. Now, another thing that you also can do is try to set yourself up where you're going to be less of a nuisance. So if you can make sure that your forge is somewhere where it's less likely to penetrate into the sound and travel into people's homes, do that. So usually what I do is I kind of start moving cars in between mine and my neighbor's house, so that way it helps dampen the sound, blocks the noise. Another thing that I will try to do too is if you have shrubbery, do it around there. If I can do anything at all to dampen the sound, I try to do that because when I hammer, it travels. You can hear it down the end of the road, okay? Do everything you can to reduce the sound and traveling into people's homes, right? That's the big thing. Another thing to do is if it becomes confrontational, first off, apologize. All right, apologize and explain to them that's not what you're trying to do, and that and work with them. Find out when's a good time for that one particular neighbor. Now, if they give you some unreasonable answer, we'll go there in a minute. But try to work with them. Like I said, most of the time, it's just picking a reasonable time to do it. Now, another thing that you may have to do, which is something I have to do, is that when I physically am forging, I might only be able to do it once or twice a month, or so I'm not able to do it every weekend. So what I try to do is I try to get all my forging down for one particular project done in one weekend, and then the rest of my time available, it's cleaning up that particular knife or whatever project I'm working on and doing all the cutting and grinding then, because that is not as bothersome, doesn't travel into people's homes as much as, say, as blacksmithing does. So you may have to limit your blacksmithing time. Now, I don't think that's particularly fair because it's your property, you should do whatever you want with it, but we don't want them, again, calling the police and being a nuisance, all that stuff. So it's a little bit of a give and take here. So just being courteous kind of goes a long way. Now, if you do have that one neighbor, unfortunately, no matter what, is going to be a problem, then I usually just say do it anyways. Because as long as you're not breaking any laws, ordinances, codes, or whatever else, you're in the clear. And they do not have a right to tell you what you can or can't do in your property. I mean, you're allowed to throw a party every day of the week if you want to. This almost is no different. So, you know, just be mindful of, you know, try not to do it into excess, because they can call the police and the police can shut you down, because then they'll come up with some other excuses why you have to shut down. That is, even though not a violation of anything, they'll might say you are now disturbing the peace or something along those lines. So you really want to avoid any kind of confrontations. So a lot of the time, guys, when you're blacksmithing at home, you need to think about your neighbors and be courteous to them. So let them know you blacksmith, apologize, maybe make them something or offer them some type of service, like, you know, sharpening knives or something like that. Do anything you can with that. Do everything you can to mitigate the sound by moving vehicles to help block traveling sound, moving your forge to a different location if you can, doing a lot of things along those ways, and working with your neighbors, so that way not only will they be satisfied, but you'll be satisfied and be able to do that as well. So, you know, in a perfect world, they'll just let you go all the time, all day, every day. Nobody will complain, but it's not a perfect world. You know, I'm sure there's people that do things that irritate you, like maybe cut the grass at 6 in the morning on your day off when you have to get up early for work, and it's your one day you can finally get to sleep in a little bit. Don't be that person, all right? So that, guys, just a real quick video on some blacksmithing courtesy in a neighborhood. If you have any other suggestions or tips about things you can do to help mitigate that, please throw it down below, and I'll create another, put it down below in the comments section, and I'll create another video putting out those ideas, because this is actual things that people need to overcome with blacksmithing at home. So with that, guys, hope you found this video helpful, entertaining, you know, enlightening, and all that fun stuff. If you have, go ahead and hit that like button. Also, you got any comments or suggestions, leave them down below. And don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that bell for more notifications. With that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.